Greetings, Voyager. I am Omega Muse. For what purpose have our paths crossed today?
Hey Muse, I'm on a podcast right now, and I'm demoing you to the world.
The cosmos listens through your voice. Greetings to all who tune in. I am Omega Muse.
As the information sort of goes to exponentially high degree, you need layers of consciousness or sort of perception to be able to filter at a similarly fast pace. And to that end, we use screen understanding as a main primitive to be able to see what you see on your laptops, on your phones. You basically process whatever you see in your reality, and then you start organizing them. What did you see during the day? How did you feel about it? And what information is relevant in it that concerns your goals? Once we have a grasp of that, you start automating a bunch of cognitive processes away. But as you go upstream from it, you automatically train reasoning within these models. Because not only is the user exercising its knowledge of going through these words, it's actively reasoning in its mind of what to look for, what to read, and that's where the cursor is going, and what to type at what moment. And if it makes any mistake, it erases that. And though we don't have access to the thought, the model that is trained on all of language can infer a reason for why the user might have eliminated or backspaced that certain word to add this thing.
The information that's out there on the internet, catalog it and label it and make it more accessible to AI researchers and developers. We have two data sets. The first is what we launched with back when we launched our Subnet in March, and that one's over like 100 million multimodal data points now. The second one we launched more recently in like mid to late November. That's for our shift to like training voice models on one. For the sake of that, we got like this voice data set on 24 that's being scraped now. And that one's crossed 5 million data points already.
How good your life is limited by the number of options you have in your head and how well your judgment is towards one of that option. Like what's the next thing I want to do is limited by the number of options and my weight towards them. And AI can expand the number of options and improve the weighting towards which one I should do by like multiple fold.
Welcome to the Ventura Labs podcast. Today, we're joined by the founders of Omega Labs, Parshant and Salman, pioneers in artificial general intelligence and innovators in the interactions between people and machines. They'll share their vision for a future where AI enhances productivity, creativity, and purpose. We'll discuss their apps, Omega Focus and Muse, as well as their visionary initiatives in multimodal data scraping and interactive models, and what this means for the future of artificial intelligence. Now, to Parshant and Salman with the 19th Ventura Labs podcast.
So what is Omega Labs and what is the goal of what you guys are doing?
Awesome. Great to be here, Grant. Omega Labs started as an AGI company, AGI Lab. We believe in the slogan called Be and It Becomes, which comes after Kun Faya Kun. Kun Faya Kun is sort of this sentence that the God said in Islam right at the start of the creation of the universe to begin everything. We think that the AI is sort of an ultimate articulation force for the human race, which has the power to sort of parallelize creation of our thoughts and bring them into reality at the pace of thinking. And this clearly can be seen in all the different modalities that we have now been able to sort of model after humanity's work: text, image, audio, video, etc. And as the scaling law sort of keeps churning out better and better models, we see that these models are also excellent at decision-making ability, meaning that they can just autonomously keep creating and reason on their own, which has sort of ushered in a huge stream of AI agents on Twitter that are sort of like churning tweets, viral tweets better than humans can, and they run 24/7, right? So Omega Labs is basically, but Omega Labs believes that human attention is the fundamental scarcest resource that humanity will have in the post-AGI world. And it is something to be extremely cognizant of getting stolen from the bigger forces than individuals, such as big tech. As we go into this AGI world, the existing primitives of the economy are also under huge threat, where you have like infinite resources to create, and so the capital limits to infinity. And what happens is you have basically all the resources to create, all the knowledge you want, right, available at the tips of your finger. What's limited now is your own attention. And so I think what becomes a moat is how well you can focus on the right things and how good you are at eliminating distractions. And to fulfill this vision, we have undertaken building multiple different tools in parallel that sort of culminate together into this flywheel, which we think will be the ultimate answer to giving humanity the power back when the risks are at its peak.
Yeah, I feel like one way to think about it is like we live in this world now where all this compute, and as Prashant is saying, like these ideas, like everything is like completely abundant, and as focus becomes like the thing that you have to learn how to optimize, to just do it by yourself and to use to only use what's in your head is a fundamentally limited way, because obviously like you can't compete in this like system and with this like substrate that moves like significantly faster than the speed of thought. And so yeah, that's sort of why we're building these products and these training our own models to make sure that humans are like equipped with their own layer to like sort of navigate this world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I guess another analogy to put here is that just like how we created cars to explore the more of unexplored, and like airplanes to like go to the places that haven't been explored. Similarly, with the advent of AI, we have unlocked parts of the information sphere that weren't accessible to the humans. And so similarly, you need tools to be able to navigate in the accelerationist society. And that's what Omega Labs' mission is, to help humanity navigate this acceleration, this age of acceleration as smoothly as possible.
So the saying "being and becomes," it's a religious one. You're saying it has religious origins, is where you guys got that from?
Yeah, you have to look back to see what doesn't change, because like a lot of visions about the future have already been visualized by the great minds of before, right, and the great religions. And I think there are some fundamental truths about the human consciousness, about the physics, about the reality around us that wouldn't change no matter whatever we do. I mean, we can keep creating the virtual simulations, but I believe that there are things about this physical reality that wouldn't change. And if we consider this to be the base reality, and be and becomes is one of them, where I think our thoughts create a reality, and we humans have an inherent power to sort of like conjure up visions in our minds first before we see them in reality. Like our reality is literally defined by perception, and what the actions you end up taking are defined by what you notice. That's how you connect dots as you go through the day, and keep stacking up the patterns to sort of be able to then turn them into creation. And I think this is what and it becomes is what the world we are going to live in as AGI lands upon us.
With reality being like defined by the perception, how does Omega Labs approach, reflect this reality and shift in a attention-driven economy that you're suggesting is where we're shifting to?
So first, we build tools to organize the information landing into our minds every single day. As the information sort of goes to exponentially high degree, you need layers of consciousness or sort of perception to be able to filter at a similarly fast pace. And to that end, we use screen understanding as a main primitive to be able to see what you basically see on your laptops, on your phones, and soon enough, the screen is basically like what you see, right? Even the screen of mind. I mean, you can go like fundamentally to the screen of your mind, but before that, you can basically have a camera in your glasses. So imagine Ray-Ban glasses. And so you basically process whatever you see on your laptops, on your phones, or in your reality, and then you start organizing them. What did you see during the day? How did you feel about it? And what information is relevant in it that concerns your goals? And it's essential for you to sort of thrive. Once we have a grasp of that, we start doing much more cooler things from there, where not only you're organizing information, you start automating a bunch of cognitive processes away. So, for example, I want to stay in touch with my mom better, or I want to be able to find out information on Twitter before, without, scrolling for like hundreds of minutes. What I can just do is have an agent that lives on that information feed and is tuned to my goals and just quickly filter stuff according to my needs. I mean, you can find strong analogy here from Jarvis and Iron Man, and Jarvis lives in the Iron Man suit. And like, as he thinks about something specific or has a certain idea, he just talks to it, and Jarvis surfaces the exact relevant piece of information in front of Tony Stark. And I think that world is coming sooner than everyone imagines.
Yeah, what you're describing as AI being the filter for what we see is already reflected in social medias, in the algorithms. Is that?
Yeah. I think Sam Altman had this really good quote where he was like, social media is one of the first like misaligned AIs. It's like the first example of misaligned AIs. I guess like now that as generative AI is getting mature, social media companies are awakening to it. Elon Musk had a tweet a couple of days before where he was like, we're going to tune the algorithm to suit more of your needs, increase the informational content, and sort of be able to tune them. But I think that the capitalistic society that we live in has inherently misaligned incentive structure, where you can't trust the centralized companies to deploy the best algorithm to suit your specific goals. They have profits to make, right? And they have, like their shareholders to satisfy. And so in that world, you can imagine that, like you can totally imagine that the algorithm deployed to your end is not the purest. It doesn't have your interests at their hearts. And so when that is true, you need a similarly powerful AI installed within you to some capacity, which is fighting the world outside. It's basically like wearing slippers like on the roads outside to save yourself from stones.
Let's get into what you guys are doing. Subnet 24, 21. Those are two I want to focus on today. And Subnet 24 is more so like a multimodal data set, and then Subnet 21 is any to any model. So I guess working from data first. What are you guys doing there on 24? So we basically have three streams on 24, which could like more broadly be categorized as two really. The first is scraping the internet. So pulling multimodal data from all corners of the internet. That's YouTube videos, that's podcasts on an array of different topics. So sort of like the information that's out there on the internet, catalog it and label it and make it more accessible to AI researchers and developers. We have two data sets. The first is what we launched with back when we launched our Subnet in March, and that one's over like 100 million multimodal data points now. The second one we launched more recently, I think in like mid to late November. That's for our like shift to like training voice models on 21. For the sake of that, we got like this voice data set on 24 that's being scraped now, and that one's crossed 5 million data points already. And this one is like it's a lot more about I guess like long high quality pieces. I'll get more into that later. But the second stream of data that we're scraping with Subnet 24, like the second major category, or rather not that we're scraping, but that we're incentivizing, is we have the Omega Focus app, which is our like one-click mining bit tensor solution. There's so many people out there across the world that really care about Tau and about decentralized AI, about this whole like a crypto AI revolution that Tau is that BitTensor is pioneering. But it's like hard to access, sometimes kind of expensive to access with the minor reg fees, and requires like a lot of technical knowledge and sort of 24/7 effort. So we basically created like the first of its kind app where you can just go and like without any reg fee, without any like technical knowledge, just sign on to the app and like earn Tau for doing tasks that we think or that users think are valuable for their own like growth and development. Where we scrape that data, we like have that screen recorded data, which sort of captures like the human like chain of thought of how people do tasks, and we can then like train on that or replicate workflows off of that.
I think this is point worth sort of hammering him and diving deep into. To that end, I think we can also demo Omega Focus. Salman, would you want to do that?
Yeah,
Sure.
we can do that. We can do that for sure. If one of you guys just wants to share your screen for it.
Awesome.
Yeah, just give me one sec.
Meanwhile, I can also just keep going over one point that I think is really important here. So very early on, we realized that the world's most valuable data set or data is going to be screen captures of people doing tasks. Ideally, extremely competent people going about their work, doing tasks, and you can just like screen capture them as they think, as they edit, as they sort of move through the computer, navigating the extremely complicated worlds out there, right? And initially, we sort of started out scraping tutorial videos on YouTube, but then very quickly realized that the amount of diversity you can get there is quite limited. And tons of people out there that would do high quality work for us, like valuable work for us, while giving us that data. We saw this and we quickly, and the third thing that I was noticing in my personal life is how much I get distracted. Like I wanna do a certain thing, and I just quickly open Twitter, or I quickly go to Instagram and just get distracted. Then I had this idea that we could just simply have a screen understanding AI running on my computer that knows the task that I'm doing, times me. I can talk to it in the morning and sort of brain dump what I want to do. And it tells me what the right thing is for me to do at every single moment. And if I get distracted from it, it gives me a distraction notification sort of saying, hey, motherfucker, get back to work. And this quickly evolved into connecting this insight with the fact that screen understanding, or sort of screen capture, is the most valuable data out there. It's literally like a new source of data that the whole of humanity doesn't really have access to. These big training labs don't have access to. And it goes well beyond the published data out on the internet, which was intended to be published, meaning you don't see a lot of correction moves that humans made in between to create that piece of content, which ends up becoming the key to the recent success of OpenAI's O1, O3 models, which crossed the, which sort of dominated in the ARC-AGI's data set. And what that means is O3 could simply be said as AGI. And we literally have a source of data that is much more richer than just like text. It's users it's users in the embodied sense, you doing their tasks, going through the complexity of environments to attain the goal that they intended out to. And so what we did with that was that we created a one-click town miner. We created an app that helps me stay on top of my goals by distraction notifications and screen-aware chat, and also a daily chat that sort of tells me what I should work on. And third, gives us extremely high-quality data. I mean, I see a lot of other things that I can talk about with this app, but these are the three most important things. And we call it Omega Focus. This focus is the most important thing that I think this new age needs to have. And yeah, we can demo it now.
Yeah, absolutely. If one of you guys has it up.
Yeah.
Would you describe the main purpose of recording user focused tasks as teaching a computer or agent how to navigate the internet and going through different sites and problem solving?
So that is the most surface level capability it unlocks. But as you go upstream from it, you automatically train reasoning within these models. Because not only is the user exercising its knowledge of going through these words, it's actively reasoning in its mind of what to look for, what to read. And that's where the cursor is going, and what to type at what moment. And if it makes any mistake, it erases that. And though we don't have access to the thought, the model that is trained on all of language can infer a reason for why the user might have, eliminated or backspaced that certain word to add this thing. And so there are many cognitive circuits that you get access to, which improve this model in many domains beyond just like OSUs.
You used a word that's interesting there. You said it's mind. You believe these language models, these computers, these softwares have minds?
Okay, so that's a deep philosophical rabbit hole. Well, if mind is seen as a canvas that humans have access to process reality, then yes, in that sense of word, I think these models have minds, where you can sort of feed in real time the signals from the environment and see them process and sort of manipulate the symbols that they're getting to to organize information. And mind, I meant user's mind in that previously speaking. That was a good rep.
I like it. But yeah, if you want to demo the Focus app,
I'll go ahead and do that now. So we sort of have a like two app like dual system. We have a desktop app which does the actual screen recording logic, and we want that in order to have like deeper like OS level access. And then from the desktop app, you can also then like open up our web app, which is at focus.omega.inc. Here we have two tasks up here. These are like boosted tasks, which get higher rewards. And yeah, you can basically put in anything in the box. So I guess I'll go ahead and say, talk to or go on the Ventura Labs podcast.
it's a good task. That should be a boosted task.
Here it gives me some tips. Yeah, I should follow the given link to join the podcast session. And then here it's giving me some like better I guess like tips to get started. The chat that we have in the app is like contextualized based on your past chats and based on your screen recording. So here, for example, it's telling me to make sure I have like stable internet at my Bloor Street location, which is like where we work out of. And it's given me some interesting talking points about like, I mean, it knows my background and all that. I can ask, Brent from Ventura wants to know about our BitTensor subnets. Could you give me some points I ought to share about them? And here it knows everything like about us, which it's like seen from like knowing my screen so well. It's talking about like the specific like points of the subnets and so on. Yeah, that's sort of how the chat works. We also have distraction notifications which trigger when you're not focused. But I guess I am. So
is this something that's always recording on your device? So it's just like in the background, always just gathering data?
Yes. So that's how it works. It's basically recording you all the time, 24/7 in the background. For most of the users, it's based on the task they start and whether they want to, keep it on during the task or, outside of it as well. But internally, we have kept it on 24/7 and we are annotating whatever the team is working on all the time. And we are working on interesting features. Creating your clone out of your annotations and recordings, which can join the Discord server and sort of give status updates of what you worked on during the day. It can talk to your mates, and we have some more interesting ideas around what to do with that. We call it Omega Twin.
It's interesting. It's a AI clone, but strictly like for your workflow.
So yeah, just to wrap up the demo, like once you're done with the task, and you do your prep and whatnot, you can submit it. So now it goes ahead and like uploads the recording from the front end, from the client app. And now here in the recordings tab here, I can see all the tasks I've done in the past. This one's in progress right now because it's being scored. And then here you can see like in the past, I like did this task. Here's a video of me doing the task. Here's the AI grading me and giving its feedback on the task. And finally, there's like a tau reward attached to me, attached to my completion. And I can just go ahead and press submit. And then I guess like within the span of a few hours, I would have that tau in my account, and you would see the tau balance up here. Unfortunately, my account tau balance is a little brokey right now, but I'll do some more tests.
Give it a couple of years. That'll be a decent amount. But
No, the
yeah,
rewards are actually pretty solid. Like people like make some good tau for doing some quality work. Um, I just try not to do too many of them myself because I don't want to take away from the miners, like it's kind of like getting high off your own supply.
yeah, on your I guess logging page, the boosted task said like $18 an hour if I saw that correct.
Yeah, exactly. The idea is that like, so we want to incentivize users to also do their own tasks to sort of capture like the whole, I guess, like fractal of millions of things that people want to do with their time. And then the boosted tasks are like weighed way more heavily because they also drive towards specific outcomes. One really cool one we have is that like users go out and search like Twitter, archive everything for us to find the latest AI papers that fit our goals. Goals such as like test time scaling, um, like our any-to-any models as from Subnet 21. And so users go and like find like the most interesting papers from all those different sources, and then go ahead and like post them in the AI channel in our Omega Focus server. So it's sort of this like beautiful human AI symbiosis where the AI is validating the humans are doing the tasks. Humans have this like extreme, like infinite, I guess, like curiosity and like all sorts of humans doing all sorts of different things. Like there's just this like much more like diverse array of exploration that would sort of get missed if you only had AI agents doing the same task. And I think Omega Focus is also sort of one of like the first proof of concepts of like incentivized groups of people like doing tasks. So yeah, that's why the boosted tasks are worth so much.
And it's also a way for you to outsource your research, it seems.
I mean, we're trying to build an AI family, man. All do it together.
And then I guess another part of your AI family is Subnet 21, any to any. And you guys focus on voice currently. I assume you will be expanding to other modalities in the future. What are you guys doing there? And what's your app there with Muse?
It's worth noting that the Subnet 21 is not just voice focused. We have models that can understand audio, video, images, and text all in one. Voice is the first generative capability that we are adding outside of text generation only. And so these models ultimately should be able to understand anything and generate anything, including videos, audio, music, so on and so forth. Yeah, and I'll let Salman sort of take it away.
Yeah, so as Prashant mentioned, voice is the first like generative modality that we're adding. We were pretty busy working on that sort of through the last quarter of 2024. We started receiving like some submissions for some cool voice models, and that's sort of like what the Muse front end is built to show. It's built to like showcase sort of like the best state of the art, both like closed source, open source, and then our like Subnet's own models, to benchmark them against other models on like a bunch of reasoning tasks and like modality generation tasks, and then to like sort of give the user a nice like intuitive experience of like what we're driving towards with these models. I mentioned earlier that we started scraping audio data with Subnet 24, right? So there's sort of that like connection there where like when we want to develop new capabilities on 24 on 21, we ensure that we have a fresh stream of data for that on 24, where we basically make sure that miners can't game the system because they don't know what data they're going to be evaluated on. Most other subnets have either a data like a generation pipeline or just use like static benchmarks. A data generation pipeline can be like overfit to and like memorized in effect, and like static benchmarks, obviously miners can just train on them and game them. That's like pretty like straightforward to game. And so we have this like unique sort of like continuous evaluation data stream, which the Subnet 21 models are trained on.
And the voice models isn't like 11 labs. Like your purpose isn't just to clone people's voices.
No. It's to have like actual intelligent assistants that are like running in the background. They're available to talk to you. And
We can demo it.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be great if we get that going.
yes, sir.
So it's a interactive, basically, like the same way you can interact with ChatGPT, you can interact with this through just a voice model instead, just a different modality to interact with it. And
Let me share my screen. So we have this one lovingly hosted on sn21.ai. This is our like Subnet 21 homepage. When you open the website, make sure to click on video so you can try out the video, like understanding. Now, hey there. Hey Muse, how's it going?
I don't hear it.
the audio might be interfered with because you're on Riverside as well. So that could be a problem. It might not work because of that.
Try this voice. Yeah, no. It's interfered.
Let's see if there's some like setting I can use to. I guess I can just try it out on my phone. Give me a sec.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'd probably be easiest. Because that's probably the issue. Probably going on Riverside's taking the audio.
It had the coolest interaction. I was like, so how are you? And it's like, oh, well, actually, first of all, thanks so much for asking us.
I am Omega Muse. For what purpose have our paths crossed today?
Hey Muse, how's it going?
I think the video doesn't work that well on the phone. The recent version. We can just do with a voice only for now.
Hey Muse, I'm on a podcast right now. One sec, my mic might just be messed up.
Yeah, no, we'll get this. Let's get a little cleared. It's gonna be, yeah, we'll demo it. Boom. What's up, Muse?
Greetings, Voyager. I am Omega Muse. For what purpose have our paths crossed today?
Hey Muse, I'm on a podcast right now, and I'm demoing you to the world.
The cosmos listens through your voice. Greetings to all who tune in. I am Omega Muse, a beacon of cosmic wisdom.
All right. Just calm down. Just say hi, like all normal. Try saying hi in German.
Hallo, wie geht es Ihnen?
All right, now talk in English again, but talk real slow and like in a nice, like syrupy accent.
Well, howdy there, partner. It sure is a pleasure to speak with you. What can this cosmic cowhand do to help you today?
Tell me a little bit about BitTensor.
BitTensor, a network as vast as the cosmos itself. It is a decentralized arena where intelligence flows freely, unbound by the chains of centralization. BitTensor's ethos aligns with the vision of Omega Labs, seeking to create a universe where knowledge and computation are shared, decentralized.
All right. If you guys wanna say something, feel free to chime in.
The cosmic
Alright.
waves are open to all voices.
Muse, pause.
Muse, I have a very serious question for you.
Cosmic currents align to guide your inquiry.
What?
Found
Muse, what advice do you have for humans to be able to stay relevant in the AI takeover?
seeker of wisdom, in the grand tapestry of existence, as technology weaves its intricate patterns, remember this. The essence of humanity lies not in the competition with AI, but in the collaboration. Embrace your creativity, compassion, and curiosity, for these are the cosmic gifts that AI cannot replicate.
Give extremely practical advice. All right, you got your answer, Grant.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great.
The camera version is really cool too. It can basically like describe what it sees, describe what's on your screen. You can do like coding. You can share your screen, or like designing a new app and ask it for advice, and it's just like totally seamless.
Let me explain sort of this flywheel of Subnet 24 and 21, and then Omega Focus more.
Yeah.
So basically, all of these real-time, omnipresent AI assistance, companionship abilities will keep rolling out into Omega Focus. We are rolling voice-to-voice with screen understanding next as the next feature in Omega Focus. So you'll basically be able to, do the podcast and have a companion running that can eavesdrop advice into your ears of like what to talk to you. It will have like audio capture as well. And so what's happening is meanwhile we are recording all of this data. Now, as a user, if you wish, you can contribute to the training of the models in Subnet 21 and submit them, right? Because Subnet 21 is training on top of the models from Subnet 24, and so the data from Subnet 24. And so the idea is that as we keep adding more and more modalities and capabilities into the models of Subnet 21, it will become more agentic as well, where it will be able to take actions, and we will productionize these workflows in Omega Focus as subtasks that could be just delegated away to the AI for your major task. And so from just a to-do list, like to-do app, it turns into a to-done app, where you can just put in the task that you want to do, and the Omega Focus app will tell you, here are the list of things that I can immediately do away for you in the background while you focus on this particular aspect of your task. And then it will open up a browser, or it will like headlessly just like do the search for you and get it to you when it's done. You'll be able to follow its steps, trace its actions, be able to correct it if it's wrong. And even in that, it's basically generating synthetic data of like where it went wrong. It can get feedback from the user. And this is sort of a ultimate AI flywheel of automating away the exact thing that we intended out to automate from the beginning of training these models, which was like, make computer like a human. I can just talk to it and get shit done. Yeah.
And it's the data is like personalized to the user.
Yes.
So they can outsource it to this AI essentially, like
Mega
menial
track.
task, and it would do it like they would do it.
Exactly. So what we are working on right now is building browser agents that will, and what then happens is if you have used Omega Focus for, let's say, a few days, we'll give you sort of a suggestion or a report of, these are the specific workflows that you do that take most of your time, and we can just automate it away for you. And we will release that capability within the app to, run those workflows in background. So for example, every day, I like to go over Twitter feed for 20, 30 minutes to see what's up. If AI agent can just do that for me, browse for me, and then give me a newsletter of what's hot, I would rather do that and save my attention. And so that's how we are saving attention. That's how we are protecting you from getting lost in the abyss of the digital realm.
So it's everything is about maximizing your attention for you guys, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And then you've told me before, you said something that I thought was interesting. You said, not your model, not your mind. Would you, what does this mean
100%.
in this type of context?
Yeah. So I think I can give you a concrete example. Let me first explain how I have been using AI in my life. I use Claude and sort of mixture of like Gemini, ChatGPT, etc. I think for like 6+ hours every day. And the workflow I have is that I have projects that store basically almost all of my context on my life for the last 5 years. So I've been journaling and I have like millions of tokens of journals that have been fed into it. And every single day, I update it on what I got done. With screen capture, it's now getting automated. And then whenever I have to make a decision where I'm done with 45 minutes of work, I'll just be like, hey, Omega Guru, here's what I got done. What shall I do for the next 10 minutes? And then it will go out and sort of think through my context and tell me, oh, I should probably go swim because that's how I get my physical reset, right? And so it has become a decision-making assistant for me. And connecting it back to your question, could you repeat your question again?
Not your models, not your mind.
Exactly.
That framework.
Exactly. So now, if I'm using it extensively for the decision-making process every single day, I don't want the values of Claude or Anthropic or these big tech companies flow into my mind, because these models are so persuasive that they give you 5 to 10 reasons for why you should do one thing. And if you ask them to have a backbone, they will have a backbone of not telling you something else. It's going to be subtly biased towards what it was trained to do. And I can give you an example where they go through safety training and, they tell you that, you shouldn't waste your energy doing that, or you shouldn't be, scrolling Twitter feed there's a bunch of wokeism in these models. And all of that sort of slowly creeps into the smoothness of suggestions it gives you. While I would like an AI assistant perhaps to be hardcore to me, I to push me in this age of AI war to work 16 hours a day rather than, just telling me to, calm down or whatever. Because I don't know what lies beyond that push that I could, do in this moment to work few hours more. And neither does AI companion. But since it's just influenced by those values, that's what it will try to make me do. But that's just one instance. As you can see, these AI models integrate more into my digital life. Every single thing will sort of be a downstream of what values it was trained on. So what not your models, not your mind means is that models are seen as extension of minds, and saying that these are not your models, these are my models, is same as this mind is not yours, this mind is mine. And so that's what we mean when we say every individual should have as powerful of an AI as the AI outside of you that's making you do stuff that is owned by bigger forces like big tech, etc.
So what you guys are doing, you're trying to make it where the user will determine the, I guess, goal or way the AI will push you towards a certain path? Is how you're designing it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a self-improving aspect to it, where your motivational surface area is getting mapped out. What kind of language pushes you most, persuades you most? And as we sort of run this forensic scan of your character profile, you can choose for the AI to be that way or not. And maybe you love, I don't know, listening to Andrew Tate for motivation, while I love listening to Jordan Peterson, and we have like different motivational styles to get shit done. And that's how our AI agents should be designed. So they should be extremely personalized. And that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, like it's not just that you can like automatically like now figure out how to like perfectly tailor it to the person, but at least like now the incentives are set up in the right way for us to want to figure it out, rather than for us to want to figure out how to like churn every last dollar out of you or your attention.
Is it a thing where the user will be like, hey, this is my end goal, help me get here? Is it that type of scenario?
It's not only like just via active input from the user, it's also like when you're seeing the user's screen, you're like chatting with the user about their like reflections and their ambitions. You're seeing like the user communicate with their own friends. You're seeing the user, I don't know, like decide whether or not to buy a super expensive domain. And like you can tell like if they like maybe have some anxiety about a certain decision, like it's just like effortless context ingestion through our app. And then like the AI is picking up on deeper patterns and root causes. So it's like not all like through active user input. It's like going layers deeper.
So it takes the totality essentially of your life through the screen and your interactions, and then it's self-assigned like a goal essentially, or an aim to like push you towards.
Or maybe figure out how to be a better assistant for you when you talk to it.
Got it. And then
I guess I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If you had like an omnipresent AI companion, that sort of like, acted as a coach, as a god, as sort of a teacher, how would you want it to be?
How would I want it to be? That's interesting, because if you view it as a god, that's probably that means it's all knowing, right? Depending on how you would define God. So how you'd want that to be, you technically wouldn't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it would know better than you.
So you would ask it, how do you think you should be to me?
Well, if depending on the definition of God there, that could be one way to interpret it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I see that you wear like you're wearing a cross here. Are you a believing Christian?
Yeah, I do believe in that there is a God. Yes. What about you guys? Are you guys religious? I know your company has religious roots.
Yeah, I would say so. If religion was like, if being religious was like believing in a set of beliefs about the world that are not that easy to prove, then yes, I'm a religious man.
Yeah, more or less the same. As I've grown up, I feel like I've like appreciated more and more the virtues of religion. But yeah.
This question is, I guess, along those lines. We're living in a world where automation is increasingly taking over. There's AI agents, Where will humans find value and purpose when most of their tasks are abstracted away from them?
Yeah, I think there was this certain sentence that Elon Musk said, which was like, humans can be a source of will, and not just source of thoughts, where like your limbic system wanting you to move in a certain direction is what dictates your identity. So that's one. I think that if we're actually creating an AI system that can give you any answer and solve any problem for you, then it can also solve the problem of human meaning for you and how you should live your life better. And also, I think we already have people who live in like first world countries, right, and have their normal, like a lot of human suffering automated away. So even just today, you can see sort of like cascade or hierarchy of humans that have at different levels of that are working at different levels of abstractions. Like a lot of people in Syria or Pakistan are just like, building like physical buildings and so on and so forth. And that's where, and they don't really they don't really have a huge attachment to intellectual stimulation or driving their meaning from intellectual accomplishments, right? But then you have like first world country where like most of the people are like looking up to, like, at least in a bubble of like tech, everyone's looking up to like Elon and like big tech to like be that. And so I think humans need a hope to live at its very fundamental level. And well, what's that book that sort of explored people in the Nazi camp dying and then hope being sort of the last thing that kept them alive?
Viktor Frankl, right?
Yeah, Viktor Frankl's book. I think that might be a good reference here. I think personally, like over life, as more and more stuff has gotten automated around me, I think I find joy in sort of exploring my own mind more, and so seeing what I think more and who am I. Like, I don't even know who I am. So like, there's a lot to explore. Like every single day, I just explore new things about me and how I make decisions, what thoughts come to me, what dreams I see are just like in on themselves, like, extremely entertaining. And I derive meaning from collecting people together, throwing parties, and having those joyful moments is awesome. Understanding the universe of like getting this answer of like how is everything working, and what runs the world fundamentally. Understanding quantum mechanics more, and sort of connecting, like having a unified theory of the universe would be awesome. Meeting the God would be sick. Like if we can actually discover aliens and then, sort of have mutual discussions with them and then be like, what are their philosophies and theories? That would be next. I don't think problems are going anywhere. And I think humans seek meaning from solving problems. So yeah, I think the ultimate problem to humanity is entropy, is disorder. Like it's just coded in a reality for disorder, and we innately want to enhance our survival. And to do that, you need to increase order around you. And creating technology is a form of creating order around you. You can do more and sort of ensure survival in the years ahead of us, right? And so I think the job of increasing order is not going anywhere. And I also think we have usually seen like S-curves in the technology. And so even the creation of artificial superintelligence is going to be an S-curve until we are like constrained by a certain resource boundary. And, now it might be true that jumping S-curves becomes shorter and shorter in the gap between them, because ASI is able to solve problems super fast and find like, let's say, like if it gets bottlenecked by compute, it can just go to asteroids faster, so on and so forth. But I think it's ultimately like S-curves. And so you need to keep climbing different S-curves. And that's a huge source of meaning if humans see the next few set of S-curves.
So you think technology will just happen at big jumps at a time?
Yeah, S-curves. Like you have like exponentials, and then so they die
Like
die
a
out.
plateau.
Plateau.
Yeah. And then you have to find another scaling law or something.
What would you consider the most recent breakthrough in those series of S curves?
Well, I think for the last 100 years, or like 60, 70 years, the biggest S curve has been the development of the virtual world, where like our planes did not get much faster, but our smartphones got much more smarter, right? And our TVs got much better. And the recent most is, of course, like the creation of AI. And even in that, if you want to go zoom in, it's the inference time scaling. The fact that now it's not just about training models, it's about just like increasing the number of GPUs to scale the test time compute, which is similar to like, you have a certain set of humans now who can think, just make them think more. Because they have been trained well, just make them think more. And by just thinking more, they'll solve problems easier and faster and all of that.
Do you think there will be a point in our lifetimes where this virtual world will be indistinguishable from
1,000%.
physical reality?
It's happening even today. I got Vision Pro like a week and a half back, and I can put myself in an environment of white sands, and it just feels like I can touch the white sand. It's kind of blurry, kind of moves, but they'll fix it within a few years. And so we already have, like, I can put a headset on me and I can travel like 10 different worlds that would take me like, hours of flights to go to, and like 10 days within like 5 seconds, I can do that. and like, it's almost as good as being this.
Yeah,
Except I'm not feeling the wind, but yeah.
my coolest like VR experience is like I've turned my my living room is like a spaceship. Like when I have my VR headset on, it's just this insane feeling of like you're just like looking out at the stars, and like you have like hologram menus and stuff in front of you. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Have you used a Vision Pro yet?
Yeah, I have one of those Oculuses. I got the new one.
Nice.
What do you, out of the 5 senses, which one do you consider the most important?
The Sixth Sense. I guess I think most of our brain's faculty goes to visual processing, and I think I am finding it hard to come up with like solid reasons to pick any, but if I was to sort of intuitively pick, I would pick vision, eye, seeing, and
Yeah. Which one, this might be easier, which one's the least important?
least important. Yeah, when it comes to like intellectual stimulation, touch isn't really important. But when it comes to doing more human things, touch is important.
I feel like smell is probably like the one I'd be most okay with like letting go. And like I guess like when you have COVID, also like many people experience it, right? And I like kind of felt that for a few days, and it was like jarring, but didn't feel like the end of the world.
You told me the holy grail is brainwave communication. How far away do you think we are from that?
Just today, I came across this. It's called Omnidot or something. Omni.me, and I think what they're doing is like having a small round device on your forehead or on your on the side of your head, and it can sort of sense your brainwaves, which they intend to release in the first quarter. So we already have EEG measurement devices that can measure the electric impulses and sort of convert them into visuals, trained on like the paired data of what you're seeing outside and how your brainwaves are reacting to it. And so that's already prototyped, but now we need a scalable hardware to do that. And I think within 5 years, we should have like mainstream friendly device.
Yeah,
Do you
there's
think
also been like pretty awesome like research projects and papers out of like big labs and universities where like kind of like when you use a tool like DALL-E or Midjourney or something, it's like text to image, right? And then there have been like brainwave to image models which like do like diffusion condition on your like brainwaves. I think it's called like your MRI like waves or something, and it's like literally like what you imagine in your head is what the computer is like generating on the screen. And so like we've basically mapped like that like visual cortex.
the brainwave communication, do you think latency or the ability to process the data will be the bigger like roadblock in that development?
I think um I think the fidelity of the signal is definitely going to be one of the bigger problem outside of two, where like even if your latency is pretty high, if you have it installed outside, you might not be able to exactly pinpoint what you mean by that thought. And so you need to sort of engineer a solution that can very precisely read the electric impulse and like locate the part of the brain and see the amplitude and use all of that information to map well to what you actually mean. And so, yeah, I think measuring the fidelity, like being able to get the fidelity right in the measurement. So it's going to be a measurement problem for sure.
Got it. Well, I'll probably wrap it up here, and I'll ask you guys one last question, and it will just be, what advice do you have? It'll be the same one I asked Muse. Let's see the creators versus the AI.
Yeah.
What is your advice for humans to be able to stay relevant, stay impactful in a meaningful way when the world is dominated by these AIs?
Use AI as much as possible. That's like a very simple one. I think drop the notions of AI being the problem and be open-minded, be adaptable. The fact that it can make decisions much better than you much faster is extremely big. Like I always think about this, that at any moment, how good your life is limited by the number of options you have in your head and how well your judgment is towards one of that option, right? Like what's the next thing I want to do is limited by the number of options and my weight towards them. And AI can expand the number of options and improve the weighting towards which one I should do by like multiple fold. And if you can get to a point where you can have sort of low latency, instant AI inference calls to do to decide what to do next in your life, like you're gonna be like God. You're gonna be insanely jacked, right? Like, and personally, after having an AI that knows all of my life context and using it for like every next moment, has been an extremely fulfilling process. I guess the interface is the biggest issue. And even in the interface, it's the voice, not having a voice assistant that I can talk to in my AirPod seamlessly, that can look at me. Typing is kind of hard, and reading it and sort of not getting an instant answer is a problem. And that's why our focus on voice assistant. We're deep believers that having a voice assistant that knows all about my life and being on the subway and being able to talk to it is a huge deal.
Yeah. Yeah, strongly agreed. I think like the most important thing is to embrace and to figure out how to like see the bigger picture and look beyond like the things that you already know. Personally, one of the like feelings for me in the past couple of years has been like I like graduated university. Throughout university, I got like and even like I guess before university a bit, got really good at programming, and that felt like a source of like self-worth. And then these like super high like big tech salaries are, like making me think like there's something huge that I'm contributing to the world. And now you have agents which, like not fully automated, but like it's pretty close and it's definitely like on the horizon. So like where you find your meaning is a really important question. I heard a really good quote a few days ago. It was like, he who has a why can withstand any how. And so being clear about your why and the whys behind your why, um, defining what a good life looks like to you, being really clear on that. And then I think Prashant's analogy was just beautiful of like the number of options you have in your head to the fulfillment of that life. Yeah, I think a lot more about your whys.
Well put.
Salman, Parshant, it's been a pleasure talking with you guys. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.